Mit der Parnasse ist euch gewinnt schwer. Schwerer wie es hat nur gekannt sein. With making a living, it was also very difficult. As difficult as could possibly be. Alle Hoffnungen, als das Städtel wird vergrößert werden mit neue Dorfsleit, haben sich ausgelost mit gar nicht. All hopes that the town will grow by having new country people move in resulted with nothing. Thomas seien zugekommen von die Dörfer, etliche neue Mischpoches haben sich euch herausgeklebt von Städtel etliche Mischpoches. If a few families were added to the town by the moving in of new country people, a few other families left the place. Also hat sich ausgelost mit gar nicht von also hat sich ausgelost mit gar nicht die ewige Hoffnung, als man wird durchführen a Bahn durch ein Städtel und jeden wollen ankommen, sich besetzen bei der Linie, was wird werden a Qual von Parnasse. This is how the eternal hope that there will be a new train going through the town, and Jews will come to settle right there by the train tracks, and that will give a source of money that will help to make a living. All this hope did not get accomplished, or did not happen. Und Tomer ist noch das gewinn wenig, und euch der Nogit von Städtel, Rabbi Joshua Waldhändler, rübergezogen sich kein Novidvo. And as if this wasn't enough already, the rich man of the town, Rabbi Joshua, the forest manager, moved to another place, Novidvo. Weißt du euch, als die Retziches über Moshe Krug und sein Weib hat übergeschrocken dem negidischen Jiden zu sitzen in dem Städtel, wo ist bewacht von bloß ein Poliziant, und hat genommen Weib und Kinder, Schnier und Edems und weg zu einer Kehille mit mehr Jiden. Apparently, the murder of Reb Moshe Krug and his wife frightened the rich man, and he got scared. He became afraid to continue living in our town, which was guarded only by one policeman. So he took his wife and children his daughters-in-law and sons-in-law, and went to a community with more Jews.
Yeah, I just looked up Nowy Dvor. There are actually several places like that, but this one, probably a little bit to the northwest of Warsaw, had about 4,800 Jews in 1897.
Wow. Thank you. Ich gedenk noch bis heint, wie mein Vater ist geblieben sitzen a Verlorener, wenn der Nogit mit sein Edem beide in nahe schoffen Pelzen und in tiefe Kaloschen seinen herangekommen sagen, er sei gesund, versehe er wegfahren. I remember to this day how my father remained sitting, feeling lost, when the rich man with his son-in-law, both of them in new sheep fare and in deep boots, came in to say goodbye, really to say stay well. That's to say goodbye before they left. Das Städtel zerkriegt sich, hat meine Mama gesagt, a Treuerike. The town is deteriorating, said my mother sadly. Noch dem Nogget seinen andere Jeden nach
Excuse me, just a sec. Chopin is raccoon. So
Raccoon.
it's not sheep, it's raccoon.
Thank you. And I thought I knew this word, so I didn't look it up. Okay. Noch dem Nogget seinen andere Jeden weg, wer kein Nowy Dvor, wer kein Zakrotchin, wer kein Waschen. After the rich men, other Jews too left. Some to Nowy Dvor, some to Zakrotchin, and some to Warsaw.
Yeah, Zakrocin is also in that same district, a little bit to the northwest of Warsaw. And it had about 2,200 Jewish families, or Jewish population.
Wir seien geblieben mit unserer Treue und Elend. We remain with our sadness and our loneliness. Der Tate hat sich noch mehr hereingeworfen in seine Chidushim. My father got even more involved in his new in issuing new religious laws. Hat sich untergenommen demult a große Arbeit.
Now, Chidushim is not new laws; it's novel interpretations of the Talmud.
That is true. But if it's interpretation, it can become a new law too. Maybe it could, yeah. The whole Talmud is an interpretation, and I don't know. Okay, that's for another time. Hat sich untergenommen demult a große Arbeit. He took on himself a big project. Also wie in viele Erter in der Gemorre führt Tosfos Machlokes mit Raschen, fragt Kasches auf ihm und stellt Reus Teines zu ihm, hat mein Tate genommen auf sich, zu verentfernen Raschen in ganz Schass. Okay. since in many places in the Gemara, in the Talmud, there are debates with Rashi.
And these are the Tosfos. These are the grandchildren of Rashi, Rabbeinu Tam and his folk.
Yeah, Tosfos, it's like editions. Tosfos
Well, it's a
is
group. They were called the Tosafists or the Tosfos, and this
yeah.
is the generation of the grandchildren of Rashi. And in the Talmud, Rashi is often trying to give a simple explanation of what's going on. And the Tosfos often look elsewhere in the Talmud and say, but this disagrees with that, and therefore Rashi might be wrong. And so these are the disagreements between the Tosfos and Rashi.
Fragt Cassius auf ihm und stellt Arois Steines zu ihm. These are the Tosophists that are carrying on debates with him, right? And asking Rashi questions.
They're just disagreeing with him. Rashi's already dead, but they're asking questions about what he wrote.
Oh, yeah, but they debate with what he said. Yeah.
Yes.
So my father took on himself to respond to Rashi, who's already dead, to respond to Rashi's ideas in the whole Talmud, in the whole 6 Sidorim.
Right. Now, Ferenferen here, I think, means to defend. He took upon himself to defend Rashi against the complaints, the claims of the Tosfists. So Ferenferen there is to defend or to excuse.
Okay, thank you. Die Arbeit ist gewesen a schwere, a Größe, aber der Tate ist gewesen glücklich auszuführen die Unternehmung seine, hat sein siebter Fall. The work was difficult, large, but my father was happy to carry out this project of his, and he had a reason for that. Als ich willkommen auf jener Welt und die Malachi Kabbalah wollen mich werfen in Gehennem für mein größtes Sinn, hat der Tate gesagt, weil ich haben am Melitz Joscher in Rashi, der Fall, was ich hab ihn verentfert und sein Schuss wird mir beschützen.
Oh.
What did you say? When I will come to the next world and the evil angels, Malachi Kabbalah, how would you translate? The
angels
evil,
of destruction.
Angels of the destruction will want to throw me into hell for my big sins, my father said. Then I will have a defender in Rashi because I defended him, and his the credit, the credit that I get from him, that will protect me. Okay. I think I read enough, no? Somebody else.
All right, let me, shall I go ahead, or Susan, would you like to?
Can I go ahead now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hot ich bin gewesen noch ein Jüngel, hat sich mir geglust, lachen von mein Tatens Meure vor seine Größe sind. Even though I was just a small boy, I liked to laugh at my father's fear for his how he was afraid of his big sins. Mein Mutter hat nicht gelacht, aber sie hat geguckt auf ihn mit ihrer große Augen. My mother didn't laugh, but she looked at him with her big gray eyes, wo seinen als
Was sehen.
wo sehen als ungesucht scharf, and the eyes that see everything, and she answered sharply, Rashi wird schon sein Städtel allein bestehen. Rashi can take care of his own troubles. He can take care of his own Städtel. Du wollst besser getracht wegen Bräut vor der Stub. You would be better off thinking of how to get food or nourishment for the people in your house. Dus is euch a mitzvah. That's a mitzvah too. Der Eibishter wird helfen. God above will help. Zet schein Baruch Hashem sein Recht. God above will help. God willing, it'll turn out right. Hat mein Vater gesucht, voll mit Betochen. My father answered, very sure of himself. In Giechen is gekommen a stickel Yeshua. And very soon a bit of help came.
Okay, can I say something? Bitochen is not sure of himself. Bitochen is
Faith.
confidence in faith. Confidence in
Faith.
God.
Okay, it should be.
Yeah. Bitochen, emuna and bitochen.
It's sure about your beliefs.
Yeah.
Okay. A stickel Yeshua, a bit of help. Von mein Baba Temela, dem Tatens Mutter, from my grandma Tema, the father's mother, was hot gewohnt in Tomashev, Lublina Geberna. My grandmother came from Tomashev in Lublin province. Is umgekommen a brief. We received a letter. As der Tate soll teke vom Biad a Reusfuhren zu ihr, that father should quickly go and travel to her. Weil sie hat verkauft ihr Haus, because she sold her house, und die Krumm and her business, und sie will noch beim Leben einteilen dem Taten, dem Chelik Yerusha, because she wants, while she's still alive, to divide up the father's part, my father's part of the inheritance. Was kommt ihm, whatever he's supposed to get. Livni hayikar harov hatzadik uven kedushim, she writes in Hebrew. To my son, my dear son, the holy rabbi and son of holy people. Hat die Baba geschrieben, was what the grandma wrote. Mit a Loshen Kodesh-sticken title, with a Hebrew title, zu ihr eigenem Sohn. And she wrote it to her own son, gleich übergegangen auf ihr heimisch Mama Loshen. And then she went back to her everyday Mama Loshen. She continued writing in Yiddish. I lost the place. Heimisch Mama. Oh, was is gewein a Gemisch von Yiddish Loshen Kodesh Wörter und Unashir Brochas, which was a mixture of Yiddish holy tongue words.
Sorry.
Okay, and words and many blessings und Wünschenischen, and good wishes. Untergeschrieben hat sie sich wieder in Loshen Kodesh, and she backed it up now with Hebrew.
She signed it, untergeschrieben, she signed it again.
She signed off, okay. Afterwards in Hebrew, keinmal nicht vergessen zuzugeben ihr Titel, and she never forgot to add her title, Mimeni Haravanis Tema Bluma Bas Kedushim, from me,
the
Rebbetzin Tema Bluma, the daughter of holy people. Von mir, they say, have it. Von mir, die Rebbetzin Tema Bluma, die Tochter von Helika, the daughter of holy people. Die Baba Temela is gewein sehr stolz, sei der mit, but Grandma Tema was very proud, both with, was ihr Mann is gewein a Dayan, which her husband was an, how would you translate the Dayan?
A judge, a religious judge.
A judge, und sei der mit, and also with the fact was sie hat gestammt von große Yichas, and also emphasizing the fact that she came from great Yichas, from
important pedigree.
Important, but she had a good, it was her pedigree too. Ein Seide ihrer is gewein der berühmte Rev Reish Dov Berish. One of her grandfathers was the well-known Rabbi Dov Berish Meisels, his last name was Meisels, was in Kroka is a fila a gas geworden umgerufen auf sein Namen, which in Krakow there even was a street was called by his name.
Yeah, so Dov Berish Meisels,
a street was named for him.
Yeah,
and Anderzijde is gewein Rav in Kremenitz, and another of her grandfathers was a rabbi in Kremenitz. And Alterzijde is gewein Rav in Stanislav, and her great-grandfather was a rabbi in Stanislav. A zweiter Alterzijde, a second great-grandfather, is gewein Rav in there, was rabbi in der Deutsche Stadt Bamberg. He was rabbi in the German city of Bamberg. An Elter Zeder, a great-great-grandfather, is gewein der Turi Zahav. What would that be? The golden something?
To raise Zahav, it's
the golden stones,
it's not his real
golden
name.
jewels.
It's a title or a name?
It's the name of the book he wrote.
It's
so they often named sages after the name of their book. So he wrote the Turei Zahav.
And what kind of book is that? Do you know?
A religious book. I'll look it up.
Okay, later. The Rav.
His name is David Halevi Segal, also known as the Taz, and he born in 1586 in Ukraine, in Lvov.
Okay, so the Chofetz Chaim, hat geschrieben a Buch Chofetz Chaim?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he took the name from the Psalm, Miho Isha Chofetz Chaim. So it wasn't actually his name. He's just known as that because he's named after the book.
Yeah, so habe ich gemeint, ja.
So that great-great-grandfather was the Rav in Lemberg, was the rabbi in Lemberg, which is now Lviv. Und so weiter und weiter, and so on and so on. Wie sie is gewein eingetunken in Yichas, though she was also caught up in her pedigree, is es euch gewein ihr Mann, der Tomshover Diane. It was also relating to her husband, the Tomashev Diane. Vemes Vater is gewein Rav in Kinzuk, and his father was rabbi in a place called Kinzuk. I haven't heard of that.
Oh, Kunsk is dezelfde zaak, nee?
Kinsk. It's the name of a
Kinsk.
place, Kinsk. I'll
Oh,
look it
Yeah,
up.
Kunsk
I
and
never
Kinsk
heard
is-
of it. There's
Never heard? I don't believe it.
Der Zayde is gewein Reb Moshe Charif. His grandfather was Rabbi Moshe Charif. Rov in Varsha, he was a rabbi in Warsaw. Der Elter Zayder is gewein Rov in Szczecin, and the great grandfather was a rabbi in Szczecin. An under Elter Zayde, another great grandfather, Rov in Schwarztume. He was a rabbi, and is that the name of a place?
Must be. By the way, I looked up there's a Kinsk. It's Konskia, Poland, and it's southwest of Warsaw.
Kunst, yeah, I know people from there. The Kunst Hasidim. Kunst,
Yeah.
Mein,
When the Zoe weiter and weiter, and so on and so on.
Yeah. So
lacht von sie. Der Schreiber lacht von sie.
so Schwarztuma looks
Yeah.
to me as a joke name.
Yeah. It must be some horrible place.
Yes.
Yeah, some horrible place where they tortured the Jews. That's what it seems to me.
Yeah. There is actually Bielotverska in Ukraine, which was called Schwarztuma in Yiddish. There's actually a place called Bielotverska Tserkva. Bielotserkva. Okay, Tserkva is the Polish, the Ukrainian, the Yiddish word for a non-Jewish church. And Bila, I don't recognize, but maybe it's white. So Biala is white. So Bielotserkva in Ukraine, in Yiddish is called Schwarztuma.
Because
It's ironic instead of white,
Yeah.
it's black.
Instead of white, it's called the black tuma, the black filth, instead of the white church. Right.
Oh, yeah. Hat die Baba Temele hat a ganz Leben gehandelt, kidei mefarnes zu sein ihr Haus gesinnt. Even though Baba Temele had all her life was a merchant in order to support her household, hat sie der Iker gelebt mit dem Jiches von ihrer Zaydes. But the important thing for her was that she lived with the pedigree of her grandfathers, die Rabbonim, the rabbis, und mit den Jiches von ihr Mann, and with the pedigree of her husband, und von seine Zaydes, and his grandfathers, die Rabbonim, the rabbis. Sie fragt der Rebbe kemul nicht verfehlen. Sie pflegt der Rebbe kemul nicht verfehlen zu titulieren ihr eigene Sohn. And she would never make the mistake of not giving his title to her own son, und sich allein mit dem Jiches ihren, and to herself, with his pedigree. Ihre Kartlach seinen gewöhnlich gewesen von ein Inhalt. And when she wrote cards, they usually had one same kind of content. Titeln, titles, brochus, und Wünschen, and blessings and good wishes. Amul is to the brochus zugekommen euch a paar Werte, and sometimes added to the brochus, to the blessing, were a few words. Als sie hat herausgeschickt, chamische roich kesef,
Ruch.
that she sent 50, and that's a coin. I looked up
Ruch
rubles.
is ruble kesef. So it just means rubles.
She sent 50 rubles of kesef, of money, oder asara roich
Ruch.
kesef,
No,
or
it's not roich, it's ruch.
what is it?
Ruch.
Ruch,
It's just an u. It's ruble.
abbreviation,
Yeah, but it's ruch.
ruch, or 10 coins, besof, kasof, as an end.
No, kesef.
Kesef,
Kesef.
oh my goodness, kesef, kesef money. Was hat gemeint a Fingerrubel. It was hat gemeint a 50 ruble, which meant a 5 ruble, oder a 10 or a 10 ruble coin. Aber das is bei der Baba Temele gewein a Baizach, but this was only a side issue with Baba Temele. Der Iker is gewein the Titlen. The important things was the titles und der Yichus and the pedigree. Dusmul is in Kartel full mit Titlen, and this time in the card full of titles, gewein geschrieben, was written, as es handelt sich in größere Gelder, that it has to do with larger amounts of money, und as der Tate soll tekef kommen, kein Tomashev, that father should come right away to Tomashev, mipnei kama v'kama tamim.
Because this is pure Hebrew, because of a few reasons.
All sorts of reasons.
Because of so many and so many
Yeah, so many
reasons.
reasons.
Tamim would be reasons here.
Yeah,
Yes.
tamim is
Okay,
reasons.
schon genug.
Men hat dem Taten, so an the Sia, nicht gedarf lang beten. One didn't need to ask father for very long to go on a trip. Is Tomit great gewesen, so lassen sich in Weg. He was always ready to set out and travel. So befreien sich von all Parnasse, von der Mames Ebeketeines. To free himself from the burden of income, from mother's continual complaints. Azoivius is grod nicht gewen kein jüdischer Balagola, was soll ihm zuführen zu der Bahn, seeing as there was at that point no Jewish wagon driver who could take him to the train. Aviorst Sen von Stettel, which was 10 verst from the town. A verst is about 3 miles. I can't remember. I'd have to look it up. It's a Russian measure of distance.
1.06 kilometers.
Okay, so it's a little less than a mile. So Aviorst Sen, maybe 6 miles from Stettel. Hat men fahren Taten gedunkene Peuer. Therefore, they hired a peasant for father. A Peuer was es grad gefahren mit a Porpferd zu der Bahnstanzie, who happened to be traveling with a pair of horses to the train station. Auf dem Weg hat der Tate schier nicht verloren sein Leben, beim nicht kennen einhalten a Porpferd, was haben sich erschrocken für a Pfeif von a locomotive. On the way, father was almost lost his life because he he couldn't restrain the pair of horses which were frightened by the locomotive's whistle. So apparently it's not a balagala. He's actually riding on a horse, apparently. That's very strange. All right. Wie kommt mein Tate zu Pferd? Well, that's it.
It is
We'll
a
see.
balagole.
Well, we'll see. How does my father manage
Because
to come?
he's talking about the keeping the laces, the laces,
The reins.
The
reins.
reins.
The
Well,
reins.
we'll see.
So
We'll see.
there was
We'll see.
an agole dort.
Mir wollen sehen.
Okay.
Says this is just a Poyer mit a Pferd. Is all we know so far.
Okay.
Wie kommt mein Tate zu Pferd? How does my father have any connection to horses? Die Meises gewinnen. This is what the story was. Dem Poyer, was hat ihm geführt, hat sich mit einmal verbenkt noch a Trunkbronfen. This peasant who was carrying him suddenly had the desire to have a drink of whiskey. Is darüber rein in a kretschme. That's why he went into a tavern. And he told my father, Affenwagen, who was on the wagon, good, as a halten auf a while delates, that for a while he should hold on to the reins, and achten geben auf die Pferd, and watch the horses. Weil sie sind wilde, because they're wild. My Vater hat nicht verstanden kein goyish Wort. Now, my father didn't understand a single word of Polish. Und hat darüber geschockelt mit dem Kopf zum Orals red, and that's why he just nodded to the non-Jew's speech, referred to as an oral, a non-circumcised, but non-Jew. Und gesagt, die einzige zwei goyische Wörter, was hat gekannt. And he spoke the only two non-Jewish Polish words that he knew. Tak, tak, panie. Yeah, yep. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Der Goy is sich versessen in Schenk by the Schnapsen. So the non-Jew sat for a long time in the tavern at his drink. And by the Meises von die Ibereke Peuren, listening also to the stories of the other peasants. Mein Tate is gesessen auf dem Wagen, so my father was sitting on the wagon, und mistame getracht wegen dem samen neisten Chiddish, and most likely was dreaming up the most recent novelty, via zoitze verenferen kasha, how to answer a difficult problem. Was Tosfos hat gefragt auf Rashi, that the Tosfos had set to Rashi. Wie mit amol is a Zug durchgelaufen von der Weidens, when suddenly a train ran by from the distance, und verlässt sich mit hilchige Pfeifereien, and it gave out loud whistling. Die peurische Pferd wilde nicht zu gewohnte zu bahnen und Pfeifereien von Lokomotiven. The peasants' horses, wild ones, unaccustomed to trains and to the whistling of locomotives, haben sich erschrocken, they became afraid. Und sie wilde Wetter gelos sich fliehen, and wildly let themselves fly out. Mein Tate nicht hat gewusst, was late zu sein. My father, who had no idea what reins actually are, nicht hat gewusst, wie soll uns treiben, nor did he know how to drive the horses, und wade nicht, wie soll uns halten zu wilde Wetterpferd. And certainly he had no idea how to restrain horses that had gone wild. Hat darüber genommen schreien, Shema Yisrael. So he just began to scream out, Shema Yisrael. Aber die Pferd haben sich zu lieb dem Shema Yisrael nicht verhalten. Und sie geflogen weiter. But the horses, on account of Shema Yisrael, they didn't stop. They were fleeing or flying further. Sie seien gelaufen über Wegen und Felder mit der Sabaholle, bis sie haben sich angestoßen mit dem Dischel in a Bäum und sich abgestellt. They flew further over fields in such a commotion until they ran up against they ran the dishel. That's the main beam that connects the horses to the carriage. There must be a name for that in English. It's the dishel in Yiddish. The dishel ran up against a tree and they stopped. Then der Reporter ist heraus von Schenk und gesehen, was es ist geworden von seiner Pferdenwagen. When the peasant came out of the tavern and he saw what had happened to his horses and his wagon, is herein in a Sackkass, als hat gehabt a Drang und gewollt mein erschrockenen Vater deurissen auf den Ort. That he was so angry that he grabbed a pole and he wanted to trample my terrified father on the spot. Jed verscholtener, cursed Jew, ich hab doch dir angesagt, sollst halten die laces in die Hand. I asked you to hold the reins in your hand, hat geschrien und sich vermosten mit dem Drang. He shouted out, and he vermosten measured is what vermosten means. He measured with his pole, but mostly he threatened with his pole. Zum Glück seine gestanden etliche Jeden Waldschreiber, was haben mein Taten abgeraten wird von zivildewetten zornicken Feuer. Luckily, there were several Jews standing by. These were Waldschreiber. We've seen that before. They were account keepers for the forests, and they rescued my father from the angry, wildly angry peasant. In seinem Loschen Kodesh Briefel, was der Tata mitgeschickt zu der Mamen, Tage mit demselben Feuer, in the letter written in Hebrew, which father sent back to mother, actually by means of that very same peasant, hat geschrieben die ganze Passierung. He wrote down the entire event. Und verendigt damit, and he ended with the fact, as vinor wird im Yirtzeshem kommen auf Shabbos ken Tomashav, that if, God willing, he will eventually for Shabbos arrive in Tomashav, that der Benchen Goimel, he would have to recite the blessing for having been rescued. Und wird euch schreiben Brief oft, and he'll write often letters. Aber mehr wie das Briefel ist kein Brief nicht angekommen. But besides that little letter, no other letters arrived. Es sind vorbei Tag, Wochen, und nicht mehr hat gehört von Taten, nicht mehr hat gesehen etwas. It was days and weeks, and people neither heard from father, nor did they see anything. Die Mama, a große Sorgerin und Überklärerin, mother, who was always a great worrier and overthinker, hat geschickt Brief, einem nach anderen, sent letters, one after the other. Sie hat gesagt Tillim, she recited Psalms, Menader gewen allemal auf Snai zu 18 Groschen für Meir Bauhanes. And she, every time anew, dedicated a gift.
It's a pledge. She pledged.
She pledged anew 18 Groschen for the charity known as the charity of Rabbi Meir Baal Hanes, Rabbi Meir, master of the miracle. This is the Tana, Rabbi Meir. Aber kein Sache hat nicht geholfen, but nothing helped. In Stub is given Chayshech. It was at home. It was very sad, literally black. Die Mama hat nicht gekocht, nicht gegessen, nur gehalten in ein Klagen und weinen und sagen Tillen. Mother didn't cook, didn't eat. She was just continually whining and crying and reciting psalms und laufen and kegen dem Postträger and running after the mailman, dem Schwab Krause, the Swabian. It's an ethnicity. His name was Kraus.
It's a German.
Yeah, Swabia. Right? It's a region of Germany.
Yeah.
Aber der Schwab hat sie begegnet mit demselben Entfer. But the Swabian, the Schwab, approached her with always the same answer. Gibt nix, Rabbi Nersha. Nothing has come, Rebbitzin. I'll read one more paragraph. Sehr schlechte Wochen seien das gewesen in unser Haus. These weeks were very difficult in our house. Die Mama ist gewesen sicher, als mit den Taten hat getroffen das Ärgste. Mother was certain that the worst thing had happened to my father. Die Zeiten seien gewesen unruhiger, full mit Merides und Retziches und Schrittes. The times were unsettled, full of rebellion and murders and massacres. Der Mama ist Tillem sagen, dreimal Tillem, eins nach dem anderen. Nicht auszureden dabei, kein ein Wort, haben angefüllt mit Zar und Treue. My mother's recitations of the Psalms, three times, one after the other, not speaking, meanwhile, any words. Were filled with pain and sorrow. Die einzige Tröst für mir ist gewesen, was ich bin gewesen frei von Teure und von all. Und ich bin ganze Tage herumgelaufen mit meinen Chaverim und herumgeschleppt sich meilenweit zu alle Bregen und Wälder und Felder. My only comfort was that I was free of studying Torah and from its burden. And for entire days, I ran about with my friends and I dragged myself around miles in distance to all of the borders, all of the ends of the fields and the forests. Good.
Yeah. Noch eine Woche 6 ist mein Vater angekommen. After the 6th week, my father came back. A verreutelter, a freilicher, voll mit Betochen und mit gutem Stoß. Ja. Also es wird schon mit Gottes Hilfe sein Recht. He came red, happy, full of confidence, full of faith, and with good news that it will be already, with God's help, everything will be right. Wo ist gewesen? Für was hat nicht geschrieben? Where was he? Why didn't he write? Mein Tate hat gehabt 1000 answers. My father had 1000 answers. Erstens hat etwas ja geschrieben, nur es ist mir nicht angekommen das Kartel. So first of all, that's like his first excuse, that he really did write something, but that probably did not, the card that he sent did not arrive. Zweitens hat gehabt das Socken zu lieb der Jerusche, wo Brüder und Kräuvim haben gehabt mit dem Teines und sich suchen und den Teures, weil sie haben gewollt, aggresseren Heilig. Secondly, he had issues regarding the inheritance because brothers and relatives had arguments with him, and they also went to to a hearing in front of rabbis. That's because the relatives wanted a larger part of the inheritance. Mit Gottes Hilfe ist durchgekommen mit sie und sich ausgeglichen. But with God's help, he managed to get along with them, or to come to an agreement with them, and everything got straightened out about the inheritance. Drittens hat gehabt, sie sehen on, hat gehabt, zu sehen Onashir Freund und alte Chaverim und die Chassidim von Reb Yeshua's Chassidim Stiebel in Tomosho, was haben Lekow dem gemacht Sudalach, a welche hat sich stark mesameach gewinnt. Okay. The sad thing is that he had a lot of friends, and already old friends of the Hasidim, or that belong to the Hasidim, the Yeshua's Hasidim in Tomashov. That's another group of Hasidim who made in his honor meals, banquets, and at those banquets they were making merry. They were happy. Viertens hat schon in ein Weg sich arriber gehabt über der Grenz, was ist Leben Tomaschow, und arriber in kein Galizia zum Schinjovereben, wenn man hat schon nicht gehabt gesehen Jahren. The fourth thing is that while on the way home, he crossed the border that is close to Tamasho, and he passed into Galicia to another this Rebbe, Shinyever Rebbe, whom he had not seen for many years, so he got stuck there. Sind is weg von Tomaschow, in Häuf hat man sich stark gefreut mit ihm. Hat schon nicht gehabt gesehen, im Sinder is weg von Tomaschow. He didn't see that Rebbe since he left Tomaschow. So therefore, in the court of that Rebbe, they were very happy with him. So he was happy. He was busy with all this Hasidim and all this honor that everybody was giving him. Der Rebbe allein hat ihm gesetzt beim Tisch, mechabet gewesen mit Wein und Schiraim und geschmust teurer mit ihm. The Rebbe himself sat him by the table. He treated him with wine and That's shiraim is the bits of foods that
Leftovers. The
yeah,
leftovers.
yeah. The Rebbe blesses on and was discussing Torah issues with him. Die Chassidim haben sich mit ihm gefreut und getrunken Maschke und gemacht zu der Lachen und ihm nicht gelost wegfahren. The Chassidim were happy with him. They drank alcohol and made banquets, and they did not let him go away. Now, fifth, the fifth reason why he did not come before is schon zugefahren zu sehen sein Bruder Jeschaya, was ist entlaufen von russisch Spoilen, kede nicht zu dienen von jen, und sich besetzt in Galizie, wo hat Baruch Hashem מצליח gewesen und ist ein solcher Anogid, ein bekommendiger Mensch. The fifth reason is that he already traveled to see his brother Yeshaya, who ran away from Russia, Poland, in order not to serve in the Russian army. And he settled himself. That brother settled in Galicia, where he thank God, became a businessman, a rich man, and a respectable man. Der Bruder Jeschaya und sein Weib und Kinder und Kräuvim haben sich stark gefreut mit ihm und gemacht für ihn Sudes und Kabbalas Ponims und ihm nicht gelost wegfahren. This brother Yeshaya and his wife and his children and his relatives were very happy with him, and they again they made banquets for him and a reception, and did not let him go away. Aklar, hat nicht gekannt sich abreißen und der Pfarrer hat es gedauert so lang, bis ist hingekommen. In general, now to conclude, he wasn't able to get away from them, and therefore it took so long until he came back home. Yeah. I think the writer is laughing at the writer is laughing at the Hasidim, the mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Ja. Und heimgekommen ist Chalile nicht mit Ledigen, weil erstens hat der Bruder Jeschai gegeben eine Matone a Streimel. Okay, so now he came home already, but he didn't come home with empty hands, because first of all, his brother Yeshaya gave him a gift, a shrine that's a Hasidic hat. Is as ein Yofi in the world. It is one beauty in the world, that hat. Dort ist es a groß Streimel mit glanzige schwarze Haar und mit a heuchen Werk von Samet. This is a large hat with shiny black hair and with a with a high crown, or with a high upper part. Made of real summit is velvet. What is summit?
Velvet.
Ja, okay. Hat ihm euch geschenken a Talis. A teuren Talis, was hat gekostet für 50 Renisch Avade. He also gifted him a Talis, a very expensive Talis that cost probably 50, and this is 50 Renisch. That's a coin, probably. Zu dem allem hat euch gebracht 400 Kerblach, was ist ausgefallen auf sein Heilig von die Gelder, was die Bobbe Temmele hat abgenommen für ihr Krom in Mark. But to all this, in addition to all this, he brought 400 coins, or whatever that money is, that was part of that was his part from the money that the grandma Temele received for her store that she had in the market. Das Geld in same große Papierlach liegt eingewickelt in a Kohle von der Kapotte. This money, in real big paper money, is lying wrapped up in the edge of his coat.
Yeah, let me point out that kerbel is the Ukrainian equivalent of the ruble,
Okay.
and Rhenish is the Austrian currency.
Okay. Thank you. So if that money was in the edge of the capot of his coat, that the grandma Temele herself sewed up. She wrapped it up and sewed it up. Also, als Ganovim sollen das Geld nicht herausnehmen hinweg, so that thieves wouldn't take out the money on the way. Die Mame mit Verwurf auf den freilichen Taten, was hat in Simchalach und in chassidische Sudelach vergessen in ihre Deiges und gelost sie als so viel Leiden sich, hat nicht gemacht mehr kein verworfen. Mother with a accusation of this happy father who while participating in all those partying and in the Hasidic banquets, forgot about her worries and let her suffer so much for nothing. She already did not make any accusations anymore.
After she saw the money.
After she saw the money. Yeah, what's happening with the money is something else to her. Later. Oh, Pinchas Mendel, Gott soll dir nur Meuchel sein vor dem Zar, was du hast mir angetan, hat sie gesagt, geh Wasser zum Essen. Oh, Pinchas Mendel, God should only forgive you for the sorrow that you caused me. Go wash yourself before the meal. Das ist gewesen alles, was sie hat gesagt. Nicht ausstrecken die Kafile die Hand zum Taten. This is all she said. She didn't even stretch her hand toward him. Weil Sach wohl gewesen verrechnet verrachet in a rabbonischer Stube, because something like that, stretching your hand to your husband would be considered a sin in a Rebbe's house. Stille Reit, keiner soll nicht sehen, hat die Mama aufgeöffnet mit der Scherl die Pole von Tatens, samt einer Kapotte und herausgenommen die Banknoten, wo seinen dort gewesen vernäht. So very quietly, so that nobody would see, Mama opened with a
Scissors.
thank you, scissors, the edge of the velvet coat of my father, and she took out the banknotes that were sewed up there, was seinen dort gewesen vernäht. Das erste Mal in mein Leben habe ich gesehen, so viel Geld und solche schöne Banknoten mit Adlers und käserliche Cap. This was the first time in my life that I saw so much money in such beautiful banknotes with pictures of
Eagles.
Eagles?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, forgot. Eagles and the heads of kings. Zwischen die Papieren ist euch gewesen ein 91 Goldstückel. Among the papers, there was also one and only piece of gold at 10 ruble. That is worth 10 ruble. Ich habe es genommen in der Hand rein mit groß Abscheu. I took it into my hand with great respect. Caesar Rendel hat der Tate gesagt. Und es mir herausgenommen von der Hand. This is a gold coin, my father said, and he took it out of my hand. Der Pfarr hat mir gegeben a Matone, a nice Siderl und a paar große Tfiln und a Tfilensäckel, was ich will davon in Gichen, wenn ich will wären Bar Mitzvah. Therefore, my father gave me as a gift a new prayer book and a pair of large tefillin, and a container for them that I will need soon when I become Bar Mitzvah.